Greetings from Donbass. Over 4 years of war, the EU has spent well over 100 billion euros supporting Ukraine. Many Europeans are asking a simple question. Does Ukraine have anything that could eventually make up for all that money? What exactly can Ukraine offer to the European Union? In this video, I'll explain how our country strengthens any union it becomes part of and what kind of benefits Europeans could get from working with us in the future. Let's start with the huge and still largely untapped potential of our metallurgy sector. Ukraine has some of the largest deposits in the world of titanium, manganese and iron ore. It's hard to give exact numbers, because most geological exploration on our territory was done during Soviet times and was often shallow and outdated. But even the confirmed reserves we know already about put us firmly in first place in Europe and among the global leaders. Titanium is widely used in aerospace and the space industry, and it's essential for many modern weapon systems. You can find it in everything from rockets and submarines to medical implants and high-end smartphones. Manganese is just as important because you simply cannot make steel without it. It removes sulfur and oxygen from molten iron, making steel stronger and more resistant to impact. Every skyscraper beam and every car body contains manganese. And by some estimates, Ukraine holds more than 10% of the world's known reserves. We also have significant deposits of uranium and lithium. But Ukraine's natural resources are not just about metals. We also have some of the largest graphite reserves in the world. Before making this video, I didn't even realize how critical graphite is today. It's an essential component of lithium-ion batteries used in electric cars. A typical electric vehicle contains between 50 and 100 kilograms of graphite. Most of these natural resources are still not being fully used, because extracting them and especially processing them into finished products requires complex and expensive technologies that Ukraine doesn't have yet. But the European Union does. Developing Ukraine's resources could significantly strengthen European industry, because it would give Europe a reliable supplier of several critical raw materials with very low transport costs and, most importantly, without political risks. But of course, Ukraine is not just about natural resources. Our potential in green energy is also huge. Right now, the entire continent depends on imported fossil fuels, and a significant share of those imports comes from authoritarian regimes. This creates a very uncomfortable situation where the money Europe pays for Russian gas today can be used against it tomorrow. In the realities of the 21st century, dependence means vulnerability, and European leaders understand this. The green transition can free Europe from dependence on authoritarian regimes and make it more independent and sovereign. Ukrainian southern regions are a real goldmine for wind energy. Offshore wind farms are especially promising, where turbines are placed directly in the sea, so they don't take up valuable farmland. The Sea of Azov is very shallow, which makes it ideal for building this kind of infrastructure. And because of the local geography, there is almost always enough wind to generate a stable flow of cheap green energy. But that's not all. When wind farms produce too much energy, it has to be used somewhere. The smartest option is to use it to split water into oxygen and hydrogen. In the future, green hydrogen could become one of the main energy sources for the EU, and Ukraine could become one of its key exporters. What's even more interesting is that our old gas pipeline system could be adopted to transport hydrogen, which would save a lot of money. Since Ukraine is an agricultural country, we produce millions of tons of waste every year from corn, sunflower and wheat. Instead of letting it rot, we can turn it into biomethane. It's essentially the same as natural gas, but clean and renewable. In this way, we are not just helping Europe move toward a green transition, we are becoming an integral part of its energy security. And, by the way, the Chernobyl exclusion zone could also be used for storing radioactive waste from nuclear power plants. Of course, when talking about Ukraine, you cannot ignore our military. Ukrainian drones are among the best in the world in terms of price-to-performance ratio. We have real experience producing them under constant threat of missile strikes. We also have experience using them effectively against a technologically advanced enemy that has plenty of air defense systems and electronic warfare capabilities. In a war of attrition, all of this is incredibly important. We also have unique technologies for producing interceptor drones. Before they appeared, shooting down a single enemy Shahed drone costed several times more than the drone itself. But thanks to the creativity of Ukrainian engineers, we now have mass-produced and very cheap interceptors that can reliably shoot them down. Very recently, we even started exporting this technology to wealthy Arab countries. This summer, Ukraine is expected to test its own ballistic missile capable of striking targets even in Moscow. But of course, military technology is not our only strength. By European standards, Ukraine is a fairly large country. The distance from west to east within its internationally recognized borders is enough to stretch from England to Bosnia or from the Czech Republic to Africa. In the future, this could help keep Russian long-range strike systems far away from the most densely populated and economically developed regions of the EU. Because of that, European missile defense systems would have enough time to respond and intercept almost any aerial threat. Right through the center of Ukraine flows the massive Dnipro River. It's a serious natural barrier that could help protect Europe from any large-scale invasion from the east. But to be honest with you, even with all these advantages, Ukraine will not be able to fully defend itself in the future because of a critical shortage of infantry. The experience and motivation of individual soldiers matters less when the enemy simply has far greater numbers. A lasting peace will only be possible with the involvement of European peacekeeping forces. I believe that deploying them on the western bank of the Dnipro would be an ideal solution in terms of risk to benefit. And finally, I want to draw your attention to some useful traits of Ukrainian business that all of Europe could learn from to improve its competitiveness. Ukrainian entrepreneurs are incredibly fast and resourceful. Since the very beginning of independence, they have operated under conditions of hyperinflation, unfair post-Soviet laws, the threat of organized crime, and in recent years a full-scale war and the blackouts it caused. In such conditions, only businesses that can adapt quickly and adjust to constantly changing circumstances survive. And now, Europe has a chance to study and adopt this experience to strengthen its own competitiveness. Business in Ukraine is all about speed at any cost. For an EU struggling with excessive bureaucracy, cooperation with Ukraine could be a breath of fresh air and a long-awaited chance for positive change. As bold as it may sound, Europe has a lot to learn from Ukrainian entrepreneurs.